In 2024 alone, the SEC handed out over $390 million in fines. That is huge, but it's not for bad financial advice. It's not for fraud. It's actually for email, and even more specifically, not storing that email the right way. If you're an RIA and you're using Gmail or Outlook, or even worse, texting your clients on your personal phone without proper setup, this video could save you from a very, very expensive mistake. How are you doing? My name is Harrison Barron from Secure Wealth IT. We are an IT company or a managed service provider, and we help make sure that not only are you compliant, but your systems run the way that you want them to run. So if an internal IT person's leaving, if you're not confident in your cybersecurity, your backups are not working fully, and if you're just like, I don't know where to go with technology, we are happy to help. I also want to point out that we have a resources page here. You can grab a ton of our resources, whether you're comparing Redtail to Wealthbox, you're looking at the June regulation S&P guide. We have a launch day tech stack for a brand new RA, and truly so much more. I will leave a link down in the comments down below. So let's talk about the rule. Now, there is a specific rule that we have to follow. We have to follow a ton of rules. But what does the SEC actually require? Rule 204-2 or 204-2 is the big one. It requires RAs to keep books and records for a minimum of 5 years. That includes client agreements, that includes transaction records, and all communication with clients. Those three are super important. It covers more than just email. This includes texting. God forbid if you're texting the wrong way, it can open up vulnerabilities. But also messaging apps. If you think that Signal or WhatsApp are technically secure, while they are, it still doesn't meet Rule 204-2, and no social media interaction done for business purposes all have to be retained. So across the board, you can't just keep putting out stuff. Obviously, if it's in through compliance, that's fine, but it still has to be backed up and retained for the appropriate amount of time, regardless of where it is. And if it happened on a personal device, you could be easing into more fines and potentially more risk. And speed matters. Records must be stored in a way that allows for fast retrieval. So they haven't defined what fast is, but if you can't pull them up quickly when they ask for them, that finding, even just having that alone, or if it's filed away somewhere or you don't remember where you have it, but you know you have it, that could put you in trouble as well. That's not my requirement. That is what the SEC specifically on Rule 204-2 is requiring. So the big mistake, because the rule sounds big and scary, but there is a big mistake, and that is the off-channel problem. This is where people are getting completely destroyed with fines and penalties, and nobody wants to deal with that. The SEC and the CFTC handed out more than $2.2 billion in fines since late 2021 for firms that failed to capture business communications on personal devices, WhatsApps, Signals, and any other non-approved app. So if you have to ask yourself, is this approved or is this not approved? And you type it in, is this approved by the SEC? Then you're probably safe. But if it's not there, you are in trouble. And in just 2024 alone, they handed out $600 million across more than 70 firms, which is a tremendous amount of number. And seniority doesn't protect you just because you've been around for a long time. It does not matter. And the worst is people are incentivized to whistleblow. If they see something, they're getting something that somebody did off channel, and they're getting it to their personal device, and hey, it's a personal number. If they report you to the SEC, they can get a portion of that fine given to them for whistleblowing. So you have to be really, really careful. And if you're RA or you have a firm and you have your own team that is texting on a personal phone, this is a record-keeping violation because it's not an approved line of communication, and it's also not being backed up for that number of years required, right? Especially for the immediate and then the archivable of 5. That is the most important thing. So what does compliance actually look like? This is where things actually matter. Email archiving is super important. For true kind of, hey, we're doing the right thing, messages need to be auto-copied or journaled from one point of origin directly into your archive without anyone being able to interrupt them or filter them out. That is really important. Just using Outlook does not archive them correctly. That's the most important thing. This is called worm storage. This is write once, read many. This is what examiners are specifically asking for. Records must be stored in a tamper-proof format, and that's what WORM is. So WORM stands for written once, read many. It's basically there. You can go back to it and look at it as many times as you want, but you cannot tamper with this. Now, the third part of this, believe it or not, is a written policy. Most audits ask for a policy document that makes it unambiguous which platforms can be used, who supervises, how sampling works, and what retention protocols are in force. That is the most important thing. And an annual review is going to be coming. So Rule 206 parentheses 4-7 requires firms to review their compliance policies and procedures annually to make sure that they are still relevant. And look, full transparency. I put some notes on my screen here because there's so many things to remember. But if you haven't done this yet, you are going to be in trouble. It is crazy. So what happens when they actually call, right? They come knocking, bang, bang, bang. I have neighbors here in my office, so I don't want to go do that. But what happens when they actually come looking for it? You want to walk them through exactly what they're asking for. A complete log of emails. Sent, archived, received, flagged, all of it. It has to be there. They just want to go through it. They want to see that you're archiving it. This is the most important thing. Even if you're doing things that might be against other areas, it's okay, but they want to make sure it's archived correctly. The last thing they want to see is they go, where's all the documents? And they start looking, and then they can't find what they're looking for. That's when things really start to get into hotter and hotter waters, right? They want to see that it's being updated, that it's constantly being archived, and there is no off-channel communication actually happening. Also, vendor contracts showing WORM compliance is also important. Now, thankfully, most of your vendors, are going to be doing this already, but you still need it in writing. That's the most important thing. So how do you fix this? If you have this problem, I don't want you to just go out and say, oh my goodness. Obviously, we are happy to help you, but you can do a couple things this week that can absolutely help your firm maintain compliance or at least become compliant. There was also a thing done where if you basically said, hey, we know that we're out of compliance and we'd like to get back into compliance, there was no repercussions. They said, hey, thank you so much for admitting that you're not in compliance, and we will help guide you to compliance. So if you know that you are so far out of it, it might make sense to go to the SEC and say, hey, we know that. They are way more likely to work with you based on what I've seen. Now, I hope that doesn't happen to you, but if it does, it is something worth knowing about. Audit every communication channel your team actually uses, not just the ones that you think they use. If you don't know, ask your team, document it. It is not that hard. Hey, what is every single way you've used to talk to a client? Honestly, the easiest thing to use is a approved texting number and email. If you can keep it to those two, they can't record conversations. But if you can keep it to those two, you're probably going to be quite all right. Make sure your archiving solution is journaling automatically and not manually, meaning it's happening every single time a text or an email goes out. Makes life a lot easier. Tools like Microsoft 365 can meet SEC archiving requirements when properly configured. Many firms use Microsoft Purview for record classification and long-term retention. I will tell you, if you have Google, they have no built-in tool that allows you to archive this automatically. Microsoft Purview does, and that's only if you buy the Microsoft tier that is Microsoft Business Premium. I'll even show you what I'm talking about here. Give me 1 second. So if you go into Microsoft.com, you can go into For Business, and when you go to For Business, you'll actually be able to go down and give it a second to load here. You'll be able to go through and see the tiers that they actually offer. And there's one called Business 365 Premium. This is the most important one. This is the one that actually gives you the tools that you specifically need in order to be compliant. That is the most important thing. It comes with Microsoft Purview, which is this little triangle down here. It also gives you Microsoft Defender, a ton of other tools as well. But specifically for the enterprise-grade security, you do need that and that backup and archiving as well, specifically more archiving than anything else. That is what you absolutely, positively need to have. If you don't have that, or you're not sure if you have it, or you're like, I just need somebody to look it over to make sure we're moving in the right direction, you're welcome to check us out at at securewealthit.com. We are absolutely happy to help you. This is exactly what we do all day, by the way, is helping financial firms make sure that they are in compliance. You can go through, reach out to us. We would love to assist, but it is a massive, massive lift. I get it. Things happen. If you're not readily available or you're not ready for this, email compliance isn't just, it's not a tech problem, right? It's a business problem that we have to go through. And the SEC isn't slowing down on this. If anything, they're actually doing quite the opposite. They are ramping up more and more and more. Statistically, back in I think 2010, it was about 10% of all financial firms. Now up into I believe 2020 or 2016, it has gone up to 16%, and it is going to keep growing. Are they going to do audits every year? Absolutely not. Do they have the staff to do that? Absolutely not. But it is common to get an exam every 3 to 7 years specifically. So if it's been through that time period, or you know that you're in that 3 to 7 year range, it is probably coming. It's not that bad. We already have a video on it. If you want to check out that video, hit that like button, subscribe button, notification bell, and we appreciate you watching this video. We'll see you on the next one.